Kia ora everyone. Choppy, frustrating, and just kind of off. I took 9 trades today, way more than usual, and even though I finished green by $20, you know, it felt like a scramble. So let's break it down. So the first stock I traded today was LMFA. This had sort of popped up in pre-market, early pre-market, and it broke through VWAP. Actually, I'll turn my indicators on so you can actually see them. That one. Yeah, so it had broken up through VWAP and bounced off of VWAP here and pushed up to 474. As it pulled back, I thought I'd take an entry off the 9 EMA, so I got in around 443, bounced up to 460, 462. I missed that exit. So it dropped down to 453, and then it broke down to the 20 EMA, down to 430. I held through that pullback. It struggled to get back, to be honest, and I thought I was going to stop out with a loss, but then it pushed up to 457, and I got out at 454. So 11 cents per share on that trade. The volume didn't really come in to push it any further. I thought it might have a chance to get to 5, but it just didn't go. So got out of that one and then left it alone. It rolled over and dropped below VWAP, and that was pretty much it. I actually did come back and trade it later on in the morning, and this wasn't really a very good trade either. I'd taken a few trades by this stage, and I thought it was going to break back through VWAP again and push up to 430, somewhere around there, 420 at least. But I got in on this pullback here around 398, a little bit high. I should have waited really until it pulled back properly down to the 9 EMA and got in around 390. So I was a bit impatient on that one. And then it just struggled. It pushed up to 404, but I was expecting it to break VWAP, so I didn't sell there, and it pulled back, and then it sort of struggled. It hit $4, $3.98, and it was just struggling to break that level. So I just got out. I just thought, nah, it's not doing what I expected to do. So I got out at 397. So got out pretty much break even on that trade. And then it did rally at the open, but I was watching something else by then. So that was LMFA. Actually, the second stock I traded was GCTK. And this had popped up in pre-market as well, but was pretty much trading below VWAP. It kept breaking through VWAP, but not holding, and breaking through and pulling back, and it was really quite a choppy, and I should have left this stock alone really, looking at the chart and looking at how it's breaking up, and then basically going back to where it started from each time it broke through VWAP. So I don't know why I thought this would be any different. It was kind of holding here, so I thought I'll get in around here at the $0.50. So I actually got an entry at 344, but I didn't get it on that first red candle. I was in on the candle that flushed. So I got in there, and straight away it dived and came down through VWAP. I kind of fumbled my exit here. I went to sell, but it didn't fill down here around 1084, and ended up waiting for it to rally. It rallied up to 1067, but I got filled at 1054 on the bid. So yeah, that was my worst trade of the day. Down 90 cents a share on that one. I only had 50 shares, so I lost around, $45 loss on that one there. But I was looking at buying at the $0.50, maybe the support of the 9 EMA, but it's just rolled over straight away. And you could see that in the previous candles, it wasn't holding very well. It was a lot of selling pressure and just, rolled over, and that was pretty much it for GCTK. Next stock I traded was HSDT. So HSDT sort of popped up just after 7. First trade I took on it was on the pullback here, first pullback. It pulled back, sort of pushed up a green candle here and pulled back again. I got in at 12.69 at this level around here, and with 50 shares. Once again, a bit too early. I should have waited. It was buying up here, so I sort of jumped in when it was buying up, and it had previous support on these two candles here prior, but it broke down through the 9 EMA before bouncing and rallying back up from about 11.29. So this again, I was down over $1 a share on this trade until it rallied. And then because I was down, I got a little bit of anxiety, and then as soon as it came back into profit, I was hitting the sell button at 13.32, which still was a decent trade. That was $31.50 profit on that trade, and that was a decent trade getting out there as it pulled back down to VWAP here. But it had just broken through VWAP. I could have given it a chance to go a bit further, or to see if it pushed higher. I wouldn't have been happy if it had broken down actually, but it didn't. It actually pushed higher, made a new high, and ended up going all the way to about 16.74. I probably would have held through that pullback really. I might not have even made it through that one as well. So I might not have got much more out of that trade anyway, the way I was feeling as it pulled back down here. If I'd been more patient and waited for the break of this red candle, or even as it pushed up through here, then maybe I would have been more positive about my trade, and my frame set, my mindset would have been in a better frame of mind and more positive, so I would have held the trade longer. But because I'd taken an early entry and I had to hold through that pullback, my mindset was, that sort of scarcity. Ooh, it's back into profit. I'm taking my profit. So, yeah. Next trade I took was very similar actually. It was on the pullback down here. I thought I'd take an entry around VWAP hold. Got on a bit high, 14.80. VWAP was at 14.33. So should have waited again, impatient. And pulled back down to 13.33. So once again, I'm down over $1 a share before it rallies. And it pushed up to about $15.19. And I was watching the ask when I pushed the sell key. So all I saw was 15.20, and I thought, that's great profit for me. I'm going to take that. And I sold on the bid, and I got filled at 14.87. So there was a decent spread between the bid and the ask. So, that was a mistake on my part, watching the market depth and not seeing the spread. So I was watching the ask instead of the bid as it was going back up. So bad fill on that one, and once again could have held in that mindset where I'm already losing it at the start of the trade. It hasn't gone my way. So now as it's rallying, as soon as it's going into profit, I'm thinking about taking that profit off the table before I go back in the red, which is not the mindset you should have. You know, getting in down here, you would have a much more confident mindset because you're in lower, you know, the stock's pushing higher, and you're in the frame mindset of seeing how far it will go. And this went all the way out to, you know, 1828, or about 1750 anyway, before it hit a red candle. So, you know, even if it held up here until it actually made a red candle, then I would have been better off getting out here at 1680, as it, you know, closed on this red candle. But that's still something I've got to learn, is actually to hold and wait for, you know, a red candle or a level of at least major resistance. Like, there was obviously resistance here as it pulled back, but you know, it was only light resistance, light selling. So that was it for HSDT. So on those two trades, I made $35 profit on those two trades. So in the end, you know, decent amount of profit on them, but you know, that's still recovering from a $45 loss on GCTK. Next stock I traded was SABS, which actually did pretty well today, I think. Yeah, I traded it twice actually. So I traded it early on, and it had come down to make a low down here around 337. And I actually waited for this to confirm that it was coming back up. And I thought about getting in here around 346 as it dipped down on this red candle here and then bought up. And I maybe should have taken the entry here at around 350, around the $0.50, as it started pushing back up over this level. But I was a bit late on that, and I got in around 375 for the breakthrough VWAP. Pushed through VWAP, and I took my exit as it hit 4 and came back down and got out at 395. So good positive trade on this one, and a good read. Getting out up here. I didn't go much further. I did go to 407, but you know, would I have got that? I'm not sure. But 395, I was happy with that. 20 cents a share, and a much more positive trade, being patient and waiting for confirmation that it was, you know, pushing higher, pushing back through VWAP. So decent trade on SABS. I'll just go to RDHL before I go to the other one. SABS. RDHL was the next stock I traded. This popped up here. I missed this entry. Actually, I missed this entry here at 288. That's where I should have probably got in. I think my bot actually got in around here. Break of this green candle. Well, this candle broke and it got in here and actually held through to around $3. So it did better on this stock than I did. I got in here on the pullback around here, looking for it to hold VWAP. Once again, getting in on a pullback, and this one didn't work at all. Flushed down to 276 and sort of rallied here, and I thought it might push back up, you know, through like this, but it didn't have the legs and just rolled over really. So this dipped down here, pushed back up to about, what's that, 274, and I took my exit at 269, getting out of that trade. And that was a $31 loss. So not great. And you know, that's 100 shares, that's 31 cents a share. You know, should be getting out around 15 cents a share at 100 shares. $15 loss, that sort of thing. But really, you know, I'm in here on the low at around $3, and it's already breaking through VWAP. I should have been out as soon as I could, around 280, 285, somewhere around there. That would have been, sort of my max. That was where my stop should have been. Then RDHL rolled over, and yeah, that was pretty much it for that stock. Next trade I took was back on SABS, and so SABS, I watched this rip up into a halt up here. I kind of missed this entry here because I was actually watching, what was I watching? It was a higher price stock, I think. I can't remember what it was. I didn't trade it in the end. But I came back to SABS and actually missed the halt resumption. So I'd already pushed up to here, and I thought, no, wait, that's way too high for me to get in. So I waited for the pullback and didn't get in here either, as it sort of confirmed, and ended up getting in here at 578 as it pushed up, had a pullback here, and I got in just as it dipped down to the 9 EMA around 578 on this candle just in here. It pushed up pretty much immediately over $6, and I took my exit straight away. Did go further, went up to 638, and I could have got, another 20 cents, 25 cents a share, but I was just looking for a quick in and out scalp on this one. I didn't think it would push back through the high, and it didn't. And that's kind of what I expected to happen. It was going to flush, and it did. Pull back all the way back down to 460, 467. And then, I don't know why, but I held out and took another trade down here as it broke down through VWAP, and I looked for it to break back through VWAP and put in maybe a VWAP break, which it did eventually, but not where I traded it. It sort of pushed back up here. I got in at 434. If I spread it out a bit, which was a little high. Got in here at the break of that candle, that green candle, pushed up a bit further to 439, and I got out at 438, seeing that it was hitting a wall there at 439. So took my exit there, and then it rolled over, came all the way back down to about $4 before it actually rallied and broke through VWAP decently up to 475. But that was definitely the end of my session, and I only took a $4 profit on that trade and a $27 profit on the trade before. So that was $31 profit between those two last trades, which put me up on the day $20. So it was a bit of a roller coaster ride today. I was sort of up and down. I took 9 trades. 6 trades were green, 3 were losing trades, but those losing trades were, cents per share wise, quite high. 90 cents per share on GCTK, 31 cents per share on RDHL, and the other loss, LMFA, was pretty much break even. It was only $1, 1 cent per share loss, so that was fine. But really, I overtraded a bit at the end of the day. Taking those trades on LMFA, RDHL, and then the last 2 trades on SABS, probably didn't need to take those trades at all. I could have just stopped after the trades on after the first trade on SABS. Should have been where I stopped, because there I was up $21. you know, and I'd only taken, what, 4 or 5 trades? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 trades. So 5 trades, $21. You know, my fees would be around $10 on 5 trades. So I would have walked away with about $10 profit after fees, but you know, $20 gross profit, 9 trades, that's, you know, that's around $18. No, better clear that. $18 in fees. So, you know, I'm really walking away with only a break-even day. You know, barely $2 in profit after fees come out. And that's just off the top of my head. I actually have to go and, you know, wait for my fees to come through before I can put them in the chart here. But still, green day to start the week. So that's at least one thing. Good start to the week. So hopefully the market's a bit more, a bit stronger and not so choppy. And we get some nice trading days for the rest of the week. But we'll just have to see how that goes. The bot also traded today, but struggled. The market was choppy, not ideal for clean setups, and it finished $367 in the red, mostly from a heavy loss on HSDT. $20 in the green for me on the day, but I took 9 trades to get there. Every setup felt shaky. Most dumped below my entry before bouncing, and I was too quick to take profits once I was green. The market just didn't feel strong today, and I felt off rhythm. It wasn't the cleanest day, but I stayed disciplined and managed my risk, and that feels like progress. If you're finding these recaps helpful, hit like and subscribe to follow for more daily trade breakdowns, lessons learned, and the real ups and downs of this journey. I'll be back tomorrow. Hei a pōpō.